What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting edition of Sports Overtime Now. Sports League 9 checking in. I'm Tony Reese. We're joined by our newest co-host, Mackenzie Collins. She'll be on a few shows this year, so we're looking forward to that. Usually we have Drew Pavon, but appreciate you being here today. Mackenzie, want to start off first and foremost with Auburn, a place you know very well. Kind of tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'm an Auburn grad, graduated in 2022, was there for the Gus Malzahn era, can't even remember his name now, but the one after.
Brian
Harsin,
yeah, right.
that guy that was there for a few months. Was there for him, there for Hugh Freeze, and then Durkin taking over, and now here for the Golish era. So talking about the Golish era, there are 39 additions to his squad, and we've seen a little bit from spring practice. This is first spring camp under Golish. We kind of nicknamed them the Auburn Bulls.
Bulls, no doubt. USF,
because a lot of new players, a lot of new faces that we're going to see. They're projected to have about 9 new starters on offense and defense. And my biggest thing is, how is everyone just going to mesh? I mean, you have so many people, like about half of them, half of the roster returning from last season, and then you have 39 new additions, mainly from USF. So how they're going to mesh is what I'm going to be concerned with.
Because I couldn't agree more. I think the biggest thing there is they brought over their star QB in Byron Brown, who they know this guy put up spectacular numbers last year at USF. He has that already relationship with Coach Golish. I'm curious to see how that really comes through to Auburn. You've been there. It's been years where we have not had a great quarterback on the Plains in quite some time. So this guy could be the missing piece. Last year they bring in Jackson Arnold. People thought he was going to be the answer. You also had Ashton Daniels, who got a late start, and then eventually you had Deuce Knight there for that one game against Mercer. Everything looked well, but now all those guys are on to bigger and better things, and now we start over. You have a Byron Brown here looking to take the reins. He's already the projected QB1, and he brought over a lot of his firepower arsenal with him, as well as wide receivers. And then we still have a couple guys still on the roster. You lose big additions like Cam Coleman, who's now over at Texas, but I'm curious to see how guys like Singleton are able to come in and actually from day one be a factor, as well as the running game. You have Jeremiah Cobb. You have guys like our guy Omar Mapson from Auburn High. You have Alvin Henderson in that lineup. You have a bunch of guys you've brought in. I'm just curious to see, like you said, about the meshing, just to see with this new roster, this new team, if Coach Golish can really bring them all in. April 18th is that A-Day game, so we're looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, for sure. The what I've heard about the running back room is that they're fast and they're feisty and they're aggressive, and that's nothing new that we haven't seen from Auburn football.
Right.
But we definitely need to bring it back on the defensive side as well. It's funny because there's actually 2 number 17s that we can talk about.
Okay.
The quarterback and then Xavier Atkins. So he put up a lot of numbers last year. He's a junior linebacker. And he led Auburn actually with 84 tackles, 17 tackles for a loss, which is actually the most in the SEC last year. So keep an eye on both 17s this year. As you mentioned, the receiving core, I think I mentioned that it was going to be how they're all going to mesh. But if Byron Brown has his guys from last year and then on this new squad, I think that will definitely help in the chemistry. But is the game plan going to match up with the SEC
I couldn't
talent?
agree with you more. I think the biggest thing a lot of people have questions are, can that UCF offense really translate in an SEC ran offense, being that, the game's a little bit faster. There's no denying that, as well as there's more high caliber athletes. Not saying
guys are a little bit bigger.
You know what I mean? Not saying the USF wasn't already playing on that high caliber level. They are D1 school, but you talk about the SEC, the literal slogan is it just means more. So with that being said, you already know the talent is definitely cream of the crop. You have the Alabamas, you have the Georgias, you have the Tennessees, you have the Texases. Now with a fully tooled guy that played on the same team with Cam Coleman, who's definitely going to be meshing with Arch Manning. There's a lot there. You also talk about Ole Miss. They've retooled in different ways. LSU now with Lane Kiffin at the helm. A lot of spectacular talent he just recently brought in. So the playing field is by far one of the biggest. I know if there's a lot of questions on where Golish fits into this lineup, it's going to be from day one. How is he going to really suffice with this team that he has, as well as just the schedule they're going to be playing this season?
Yeah, and he sounds really excited about this group that he has. Even Keldrick Falk, who we'll talk about more in a little bit, but he said in one of his press conferences, he said that Golesh is actually trying with these guys. There's a different feel, and that's what we really need on the Plains. And I say we, but
No.
Auburn fan base entirely.
Girl.
But yeah, we need something new. We need something different. We need something fresh. And I think that he is going to give us some new looks this season. But one guy I did want to talk about as well on defense is the sophomore Eric Winters. He actually led all freshmen last year with 33 tackles. He's going to be someone to watch out for. And he actually talked to the media the other day about the rivalry between Auburn and Alabama. So we'll take a listen to that.
Let's talk about it.
I think everybody in the state knows how much that game means to people around the city. So, just having that one period where things feel a little bit different, because that game does feel different, so just having that period, just having them in the back of your mind.
And I guess you can say that it's never too early to start planning for Alabama, because during that practice, they actually had a period where they played Dixieland Delight to kind of soak in the Iron Bowl rivalry. And I don't know, what do you think about that? That's a little early for me.
I'm not gonna lie. If you've been in Bryant-Denny Stadium when they start playing Dixieland Delight and Sweet Home Alabama, the whole crowd gets into it. The atmosphere is completely different. And we both know these are two teams that it's a pitted rivalry. It's been like that for decades now. Each year, Bama has had the number, it seems like, in recent years. So a lot of questions are going into, you go back to 4th and 31 in Jordan-Hare. Like, a lot of people are questioning this next time around. Can Auburn finally get that win against Bama? It's been a couple seasons. So this is the year. If they're going with that early, hey, I'm all here for it. If Alex Golesh wants to lock in early on that big matchup come November, I'm not even against it.
It sounds like he kind of took a play out of Alabama's playbook with the how they practice with like fake fan noise around them. So
I know Rocky Top's, I think, somewhere in there as well. So when they play Tennessee, because that's always a big matchup for them. But we talk about a lot of local guys we have on the team. Opelika's Malik Autry is a big piece we're looking to really step up this season. I think that he's going to look great there. You talk about just what they have going. Definitely Nakai Davenport's a new addition there. He's looking very well. And then Keyshawn Singleton, we talked about Singleton earlier. He comes over. He's going to be a big catalyst, we feel like, for Byron Brown, who we've seen. A lot of people were questioning his mechanics of that arm throwing, kind of like cocks it back a little bit. Like, is that going to be too long in the SEC pocket? We're curious to see how that plays out. But, hey, they've been running all with it. They're here for this old mechanics. They say, hey, the guy's going to do it. And if he can't do it through his arm, he's going to run on the ground. So look out. That's all I'm saying. They say the Plains are looking real dangerous this season. And, hey, Auburn's coming for everybody. That's what I hear.
The one word that I've heard over and over and over is fast, and that's what we like to hear. But let's talk about the schedule a little bit. They open up with Baylor against Atlanta, and it's funny, after that was announced that was the kickoff game that they were going to play against, I said, oh, yeah, Hugh Freeze is going to be gone after this. You come out with a bang in Atlanta, the kickoff game. Yeah, and then you have you return back home, Southern Miss, Florida, Vanderbilt. You finally go on the road against Tennessee. You have the bye week on October 10th. You're at Georgia, home against LSU, at Ole Miss, Arkansas, at State, home against Stanford, and then it all leads up to the Iron Bowl on November 28th. But
realistically, on that schedule alone, they should go 3-0, 4-0. Now, we talk about Florida. They have John Summerall, and I'm a guy that, coming from Troy, dude's a legend down there. We've seen what he was able to do. He's a Kentucky guy that came through at Tulane the last couple seasons. He's got them into great prime position. That guy's nobody to be slept on, so I definitely want to put that out there, that's going to be a tougher game than people expect. And then we talk about Vanderbilt, Clark Lee. They don't have Diego Pavia this year, but at the same time, they brought in the stud of a quarterback as well, a big-time prospect that came over. Originally was set to go to Georgia, then he flipped last minute. So I think they're going to be looking to really utilize him. We have a couple local guys there as well. The kicker over at Auburn, he's going to be a great addition for them, so I'm curious to see how things go. But I think they have what it takes this season. You talk about from the start. It's funny at Baylor, they also have an Auburn guy that once was at, now he's changed different positions. So I think it's going to be a lot of excitement there. Actually, it's DJ Lagway. Remember, he transferred from Florida now to Baylor because his dad played there and everything anyway. So that's going to be an exciting addition to see if he starts off early on and just the type of competition they'll be bringing in Atlanta.
Yeah, that stretch in October looks a little rough there, though. At Georgia, home against LSU, and then you go to Ole Miss. But two things. Auburn-Troy in 2031.
Looking forward to it.
I know we were excited about that one. And then, two, passed me by. But, yeah, I think that's what we talked about last year, is that Auburn should have had a better start than what they did. Not being able to get an SEC win until really, really late in the season, and then just kind of falling apart with the Hugh Freeze firing and then Durkin trying to put some light into them. But missing a bowl game and then not having a first-round draft pick since 2020. And shout out to the draft pick that it was, Noah Igbenogany. He went to the Dolphins, and then also Derek Brown, he went to the Panthers. But let's talk about that, actually. Let's talk about the Auburn Pro Day. Just recap it all. 14 players hoping to play on Sunday, including one of them, Keldrick Falk. I think he's a true Auburn man.
Oh, no, hands down. For what you don't know, Keldrick Falk, being a guy, he's right up the road at Highland Home. You know, that's our DMA with SFA. Our sister station covers them all the time. Guy's a stud. You talk about 6'6", 276-pound edge. I've seen him projected on a lot of boards. Now, I know he's projected at the Ravens at one point. They're saying the 49ers. But Keldrick's just a guy. He's what we call a lunch pail guy. He comes to work. He's pretty honest with how he does it. He puts in the work day in and day out. And anytime we've been able to speak with him, the guy is well-spoken. You know, we actually had the opportunity to hear from him about how he feels about Coach Golish and everything coming in, and just how excited he would be to hear his name called in the draft. Let's go ahead and check that out now.
It do feel unreal though. Me and my brother sat there and was talking about it 2 nights ago. What we would do and like what we would think. Just to be a flood of emotion. Like I worked extremely hard to where I am now, and man, just that night to be like the first step of like showing like this is how much I work.
Push the break after a while.
One to look out for in the draft, which is in a couple weeks, end of April.
April 23rd, I believe.
Yeah, but over his career, let's just talk about stats real quick. 110 total tackles, 2023, 24, and 25. 74 of those being solo, 10 sacks. So watch out for him in the draft and then also in the league. But coming up, we're going to talk about Auburn in the NIT and also the Clingstones. So stay with us. Welcome back into Sports Overtime Now. I'm Mackenzie Collins, joined by Tony Reese. Tony, let's stick with the Tigers and talk Auburn basketball. Not in the tournament that they want to be in, but they're making something out of nothing, and they're getting more experience and just all the way to the Final Four in the NIT against
Mackenzie,
Illinois State.
I cannot agree with you more. Now, that's funny. They're only SEC team left in whatever tournament, regardless of NCAA, March Madness, or NIT. You know, like you said, Stephen Pearl didn't want to see himself in this position. You know, they were really advocating heavy to get into actual March Madness and into the big tournament, but they weren't able to get there. But regardless of the fact, they dominated in the NIT. Every game they've had so far has been in Neville Arena. This is the first time they now will be on the road, actually in Indiana, which happens to be in Indianapolis, where everything is going on anyway. So
Right.
they're playing at a Hinkle Fieldhouse, which that's where the Butler Bulldogs play. And I know head coach Stephen Pearl is a big fan of that stadium. We'll get to that in a minute. But just talking about the success they've had so far, we're seeing guys like Keyshawn Hall as well as Tahad Pettifer doing great things. And this team looks like they have what it takes. You know, if they get through Illinois State later on tonight, it's going to be an exciting run to see if they can bring home an NIT title. And, you know, the irony is they're back-to-back Final Fours. A lot of fans aren't here for that one. But at the same time, hey, in the year one, Stephen Pearl's done a lot.
For sure. Yeah, he talked about that in his post-game conferences in the regular season, just talking about, it's not where we want to be out at this point in the season. But I think now they're just trying to prove who they are.
Right.
I mean, I think during the season there were some moments that you kind of felt like they were maybe giving up at the end of games. But I think they need to focus on a complete game, because even in that game against Nevada, they were up at the half, up
Right.
12 at halftime, but then they were outscored 37-43 in the second half. So it seems like they either start slow or finish slow. So I think against Illinois State, they have to just have a complete 40 game.
I couldn't agree with
40-minute
you more.
game.
I think no doubt about it. We've seen the consistency they've had all season long, and I think this is definitely a time to put up a shut up. A lot of people question, like, okay, now you're in an actual road game situation. How are you going to do? Coach Pearl, listening earlier in the week, he sounds like he's pretty confident in his guys. They've been doing a lot of success across the board. They're really meshing at the right times. This is another 20-win season for them. A lot of this team last year was in the Final Four. Now, there were several additions that went on to the league, but I think this team has the pieces they need to get it done. I think a lot of fans will be in hype that they can get it done. And I think ultimately this will be a great way for him to finish out the season, hopefully with an NIT championship, just to show that they can win at a high caliber game. And then going into next season, they're going to be adding a couple pieces, including one giant piece we're going to talk about here in a minute. But just I think so far, if you were to give it a grade, I'd give it about a B+, B- early on this year. I know a lot of people were like, oh, he's more like a C or D right now. You didn't get where you were supposed to be, but I mean, it's a lot coming in. You had one of the toughest schedules. It wasn't your schedule that you built out. So being able to come in and just try to really navigate this thing and, being a legacy at that, your dad trying to step in his shoes.
Yep.
Everybody knows Bruce Pearl was a one-of-a-kind, legendary coach. And for you to try to be just half a man he was, that's a lot to put on somebody year one. But I think Steven has flourished in it a little bit. I think he's now kind of coming into his own, and I think he set himself up and the team for great success going forward.
Yeah, and I think it's the freshmen on this team that are really going to be the future of Auburn basketball. I mean, Sebastian Williams-Adams, 44 steals on the year. That's an Auburn freshman record. And then you have Elijah Freeman as well. Dahad Pettiford, we'll see what he can do in this game,
right,
and then also moving forward. And then Keyshawn Hall, of course, Keyshawn Murphy. Just really, this was just who is Auburn without Bruce Pearl. This was that year for them. And then moving forward, it's going to be who is Stephen Pearl and the Tiger basketball team. Hoping to see a win tonight at 9:30 when they tip off. And then we'll see where the rest of the season takes them. And talking about that huge piece that they just got, they're pulling a Florida, it seems like. They just got a 7-foot French center named, and I excuse my pronunciation, Narcisse Nagoy. He had 10.8 points per game, and he actually leads the French league that he's playing in overseas in rebounds per game. So really big piece there, and I'm excited that that we got a 7-footer.
No,
we're just playing along with
a lot of people
Florida.
question if he's going to be like the next Wemby. Now, the thing about that is a lot of kids come over. There's been a lot of speculation there, too, because a lot of people are mad that, like, oh, he comes from the French league. Like, the same thing with, like, Alabama and Charles Bediako, but he comes from the G League. Why couldn't he play? Or should he even be able to play? Who knows, man? Let's just talk about it. It's an exciting time. The NIL and everything, too, with the whole landscape of what everything is, it's a little complicated, so we're still dissecting that, trying to understand it. But if this helps Auburn in any type of way have more of a defensive presence down in the paint, I'm here for it. Let's talk about it. Just because this team, since Janai Broom has left and Chaney Johnson's gone and Dylan Cardwell, we've seen what they've been doing in the league now. Like, they've been missing that piece this season, and I think it's definitely going to be a big catalyst for them going forward. But, we had the opportunity to hear from Coach Stephen Pearl. Let's go ahead and listen to what he had to say.
Really cool that we get to play in Hinkle Fieldhouse. Our guys have no idea what Hinkle Fieldhouse is, but, we obviously, some of us older folks have a real appreciation and understanding. I grew up in Evansville, Indiana, lived there for 9 years when we were at Southern Indiana, so have a great appreciation for that state and their love for basketball at all different levels.
It all goes down tonight, once again, 9:30 over on ESPN, Hinkle Fieldhouse. Auburn taking on Illinois State. You won't want to miss it, with all roads leading to the NIT final in just a couple days. We're going to go ahead and finish it off here, and then coming back, we're going to be talking Columbus Clingstones opening day set for tomorrow against the Chattanooga Lookouts. You won't want to miss it. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Now, we're going to talk about pivoting now over to Synovus Park, where this Friday, the Columbus Clingstones are back in action. Earlier, Mackenzie, we were able to talk to this team earlier in the week, and the Clingstones are ready. Today, we got the official roster. Things are looking great. Several returning guys, several new guys, especially in that pitching rotation. What would you say you're most looking forward to this season?
I think I want to see more offense. I feel like the outfield and making plays on defense was a strong suit for them, but I need to see more offense. But speaking of some of those returners, you have Ethan Workinger. He led the team.
Big time guy.
He led the team in home runs last season with 16, had 70 RBIs, 37 extra base hits. He's going to be another key part to this offense. And then, of course, as well as David McCabe, he led the entire Braves minor leaguers in total with 71 RBIs, 71 walks, 27 doubles, and then 200 total bases that he's earned. Two guys that I'm sure lots of fans are excited to see him return for this season.
McKenzie, I couldn't agree more. The biggest addition they have this year happens to be new manager in Nestor Perez. We were able to catch up with him earlier this week, and he sounds very confident that they have the team to really make a deep run. He's been a guy that's been around the system for quite some time. I know he had a stint with the Biscuits as well, and he's been able to do a lot through this Braves organization. It's funny, we asked him what his motto was this season, and he says it's setting the tone. Okay. And I remember asking several key guys of the team what that meant to them, and of course they meant, hey, show up, do what you're supposed to do. They have a great brotherhood already. You know, they've a couple practices in the books, but they're looking forward to this upcoming matchup against the Chattanooga Lookouts, a team that they played quite a few times last season. We know their schedules, you play about 5 in, 5 out every week, so it's always going to be exciting. They have several top 30 prospects on the team this year. Owen Murphy is a new addition people can look forward to. He's on the pitching mound, I believe, to be the starting pitcher going into tomorrow's matchup. You have Garrett Ballman as well, the number 12 prospect. Owen Murphy's the number 6. You have Herrick Hernandez, who's the number 14 prospect. Drew Hackenberg is a familiar name that will be returning this year. He's the number 16 prospect. And young Carlos Lara is the number 17. He's actually one of the only players listed on the Braves 40-man roster already. And Patrick Clohissy is another big name that we were able to see last year. He comes back as the number 26 pick. But you have 11 guys from that inaugural 2025 roster coming back. And Blaine Abeda, Hackenberg, as we mentioned, Ellison Joseph, young Carlos Lara again, Adam Zabrowski, we call him Zebo. He's a big name everybody looks forward to as the catcher. Drew Compton, Cal Conley's another favorite. David McCabe, Big Tom, and Keyshawn Ogans, a fan favorite, Kevin Kilpatrick Jr.
Yep.
He's the one that broke the internet last year with the gumdrop button sliding. So we asked him this year, I was like, hey, how you feel about, you gonna try to break it again? He's like, I hope so. He's like, I got a lot of swag coming. He's like, I got something in the back. Yeah, he's like, I'm waiting on it. He's like, I'm gonna keep it clean. I'm gonna make sure it goes with the uniform, but it's gonna be drippy. So I'm like, all right, I'm looking forward to that. And then we just talk about what he brings and just the atmosphere. And then Ethan Workinger, man, we talk about just what he was able to do last year. Anytime he was on at bat and just some of the bombs he was able to hit out the park. There's just a lot of excitement around the team coming back. You know, it's a fan favorite here in the city. They're the newest team, but they can sell out, especially when Synovus is packed. We've been to quite a few games ourselves. Things get it's beautiful to see.
It really is. And one thing I want to see more of is more wins. They finished 26-40. They finished 1-9 in their last 10 games. So hopefully they can get started on the right foot with the Lookouts in this series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I couldn't agree more. I know definitely they split into 2 halves. You talk about the Southern League, so they want to try to win the first half early on and then come back and win the second. And they think, like I said, this team has a lot of key pieces now. We know the biggest thing with these guys, you're going to see guys come and go all season long. The biggest thing is you want to get them to the majors. So at AA, it's quite possible to jump up to Gwinnett Stripers very quickly or be relegated back down or even sometimes down to Augusta. You know, it's very rare, but we do see a lot of guys. There's also another guy we're hoping to see sometime this season in Cam Committee, who happens to be the top prospect in the Braves organization. He's now with the Augusta Green Jackets, so curious to see if we'll see him a little bit at all, or I know he's kind of moving around the ranks. He might be with the Rome Braves as well, Rome Emperors, correction. So there's a lot of excitement coming in, but this team, as I mentioned, they're just excited to be back out on the mound, be back out on the field. They talked about fans. They're excited to be back here in Columbus in the Fountain City. This year they actually will be incorporating a new identity in the Refresco de Fuente. That's a unique uniform as part of the Copa de la Liga of the MILB. So that's going to be a lot of excitement there. It's if you haven't seen the colors, you can go online to our website and check that out. But it's pretty exciting just what they have going. And like now we have open a roster. We're just less than 24 hours away from our first pitch, and it's going to be exciting news just to get back out there in the ballpark. We'll be live out there all day tomorrow. So best believe you can check in with Sports Leader 9 all day long. Myself and Drew Provine will be there.
One last question, Tony, though.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you like collecting hats. If you didn't know,
got the Braves. Look.
He loves collecting hats. What hat are you going to get this season for the Clingstones?
There's so many I've seen. I've been asking my wife every day, like, babe, can I buy a hat, please? I've been trying to get that Refresco de Fuente. I got to get that one. I'm hoping that they still have some tomorrow because I know they're going to sell out pretty fast.
Probably.
I have a couple already. You know, I think I got to retool. Some of them are like worn out. I finally figured out my actual hat size, so I'm hopefully try to get a fitted this year again. But uniforms, they're a little pricey, but hey, they worked it just because this team, the colors, especially the peach. What would you say your favorite jersey is, Mackenzie?
the green one, but I'm just partial to green.
I get it. I get it. They got some nice ones though. You got the peach, you got the black, you got the
black
gray.
jersey, yeah.
Bringing the refresco in. You know, they got the signature. I hear Margaritaville's this year. I hear Star Wars is in the works. I hear like a Harry Potter theme is in the works as well. We know general manager over there, Pete Lavin, has said a lot of excitement around the team, just what they're bringing. And I was talking to the guys. They're like, man, I'm just excited to put it back on. They have a couple different combos. They're like, I love all of them. You know, so it's gonna be fun to see. We even talked with manager Nesta Perez. He's like, man, I like all of them. I like the whites as well. But he's like the peach. He's like, I'm looking forward. I got my peach shoes. He's like, it's not his favorite, but he's like, he doesn't really have a favorite. He's looking excited to just be here.
Nice.
And they return a lot of their former coaches and the pitching coaches and the batting coaches. So this team, he says, I'm the only new guy here. Everybody else is coming back. He's already been here, so he's just excited for the opportunity, and we're excited to see it. You know, we'll be following this season all season long. They have over 60-plus games that we'll be watching and tuning into, and then if you can make it out, you know, they play all weekend long, and it's like a 5-game stretch. So even if you miss the first game, you can catch 2 or 3 more down the line.
Right.
So it's going to be a lot of excitement under this.
For sure. And if you need to find Tony, just look for the hat. And if you need to find me, I will be in a green jersey.
No doubt about it. Well, hey, that's going to go ahead and finish up another exciting edition of Sports Overtime Now. We've talked about a lot of great topics. And, you know, next week, we'll be right back at it with another episode, whether it be myself, whether it be Mackenzie, might be Drew. We'll have some other special guests along the way. Be sure you can tune in. As always, you can watch it over on WTVM.com/live stream. A lot of excitement going in every Thursday. Be sure to tune in. Thank y'all once again for joining us.